BetEdge NCAA March Madness Tournament is here, and we could not be more excited. I'm sure everyone out there is doing their crash course in the NCAA, trying to fill out their brackets, listening to all kinds of terrible analysis on the TV, a bunch of guys spewing hot air, not committing to one side or another. But never fear, BetEdge is here. We've got your back. We're going to get you through your bracket real easy, and you're going to feel really good about it when you're done. So stick with us. Give us about 10 minutes, and we're going to cure all of your NCAA March Madness headaches. So let's get right into it. We're going to get you to a champion. And how are we going to do that? Well, we've got to whittle these teams down. I believe 68 teams start, and we can get it to 17 right off the bat, just with a few simple criteria. So if you see the first point here, the eventual champion has been seeded no lower than third since Arizona in 1997. That's 20 years of data, and the only exception to this rule was UConn in 2014. So abiding by this law, you would have only been wrong one time in the last 20 years. So the second point now, the eventual champ will have 7 or fewer losses. So the champion is an elite team. It's not going to be a team that's been losing a bunch of games. It's going to be one of the better teams in college basketball, and it's going to come from one of the major conferences: the Big East, ACC, Big Ten, Big 12, SEC, or the Pac-12. The winner just always comes from one of the big conferences. The little mid-majors, they never really win. And we expect this year to be no different. So just held to those 3 criteria, only 17 teams make it. So we've cut about 50 of these teams out already. How easy was that? Simple, right? So I can almost all but guarantee you guys your eventual champion is going to come from one of these 17 teams. So now we can whittle these teams down even further until we get to a Final Four and an eventual champion. So the first criteria we're going to start with is your road record. You've got to be battle tested on the road. You're not going to be playing any home games for the duration of the tournament. So you're going to have to be comfortable with playing on the road, or at worst in a neutral environment. So Duke and Florida State, they've got a below 500 record on the road. I'm sorry to say, Duke fans, but you're cut. You're cut right off the bat. This has not been a great Duke team. And they're not getting it done on the road, and for that reason alone, we do not expect them to run the gauntlet that is the NCAA Final Four tournament. And Florida State, you're out also. I apologize to all the Florida State fans out there. So the second criteria we're going to hold these teams against: defensive field goal percentage allowed. You're going to have to play a bunch of games, at least 1 or 2 of these games. You're not going to shoot a great percentage, and you're going to have to lean on your defense. So West Virginia, Notre Dame, and Kentucky, and Butler, all outside of the top 100 in defensive field goal percentage allowed. You're cut. I mean, we're not asking for an elite defense here. You don't have to be the best defensive team in the country, but you have to be inside the top 100. You have to have some sort of defensive identity. At least 1 or 2 games, it's going to have to be what gets you through. And if you're not able to lean on your defense, you're just not going to be able to make it to the finish line. So I'm sorry, West Virginia, Notre Dame, Kentucky, and Butler, you're all cut. We're getting there, right? We're not that far from a Final Four, and we've only got a few criteria left, okay? Rebounding percentage has got to be one of the most important factors when you're trying to predict a winner in a basketball game. It's got to be among the top 3 most important stats. In Florida, 128th in the country. That's not going to get it done, Florida. I'm sorry, but you're cut. You're going to have to rebound the ball a little bit better than that. It gives you all kinds of extra possessions. This might be what I think is the most important criteria: point guard play. For anyone that's watched this tournament over the years, it is a guards tournament. Your point guard is basically your quarterback on both sides of the basketball. It gets you into your sets. It's your defensive leader. It's going to be the guy that's going to have to make free throws at the end of the game and make the big shots when the clock's coming down. So this is very much a guards tournament. If you do not have good guards on your team, you're just not going to make it to the end unless you've got like a Hakeem Olajuwon type player on your team, and that player just doesn't exist in this tournament. So Baylor and Oregon, their guards have terrible assist-to-turnover ratio, and we just don't think they're elite level guards that are going to be able to get it done. So I'm sorry, but you guys are cut. Free throw percentage. These games often come down to free throws, especially once we get into the later stages of the tournament. The point spreads are so close. The margins are so close. They often come down to the last couple of possessions, and you have to make your free throws. You got to be at least 70% or above. If you're in the 60 or below range, when that pressure hits, you're probably going to be splitting your free throws, and that's just not going to get it done in this tournament. You got to knock your freebies down. Kansas and North Carolina, both below 70% free throw shooting. We believe that's going to end up costing them down the stretch in some of these close games. You know you're going to be in a few if you get to the final, and so look for these two teams to trip up probably in the later stages, of the tournament. But your champion probably not Kansas or North Carolina. The free throw shooting will do them in. The last point here. NBA talent. You just have to have it. I mean, go back over the last 20 years or however far you want, and pick up the champions that have no NBA talent on their rosters. They are super far and few between. So Louisville and Wisconsin on the NBA Draft.net right now, expected to have 0 players graduating to the NBA. And you just need those guys in this tournament. You've got to lean on your stars, and your stars have to outperform the other stars in the tournament. And if you don't have those guys, it's very, very likely that you're not going to get through to the Final Four. So Louisville and Wisconsin, you guys are cut. And look at that, guys. We have ourselves a Final Four. Quick, painless, and easy. Just measuring these teams against a few criteria that seems to work just about year after year. And we've got 4 quality teams here. Villanova, your defending champion, bringing back all kinds of seniors. They won their conference tournament. They're absolutely rolling right now. They've got just about everything you'd look for in a champion. You can say the same things about Arizona, conference champion, NBA talent, just players across the board that can get it done. Good coaching. We really like Arizona to be making it to the Final Four. We actually might pull the trigger on a bet of Arizona to win their region. I believe you can get 3-1 out there on the books right now. So we're going to pull the trigger with Arizona. They seem to have the easiest path to the Final Four. We'll get to that when we do the regional breakdown, so be sure to tune back in for those. Those should be up tomorrow, hopefully. And then we've got Purdue and UCLA. Purdue's been playing some great basketball of late, and UCLA definitely turning it on of late. They're a record-setting offense this year in college basketball, and they expect to have 3 players graduating to the NBA. I would not be surprised at all to see UCLA make it to the Final Four. They might have be in the toughest region, though. So be on the lookout for that. They've got to get through a bunch of tough teams. But, hey, one of those tough teams has got to make it through. We like UCLA. So there you go, guys. Final Four, Villanova, Arizona, Purdue, UCLA. You can put it on the board. How can it fail, right? March Madness, easy peasy. We hope this helped, guys. Definitely be sure to tune back in. We're going to do a breakdown of each region. Get into the games, pick some winners, get some good bets out there on the board. Definitely get some bet edge winners in your pocket. Increase that bankroll, and we're going to win all together. So be sure to tune back in for those videos. And if you're not doing so already, be sure to follow us on Twitter at bet_edge. All of our picks, videos, and betting tools get posted up there, and it's all absolutely free. So it's been a joy having you with us here, guys. Definitely be sure to tune back in for the rest of the videos. Good night and good luck.